Well, hey there, guys. I'm Max the Beast of ZeldaDungeon.net, and last week I talked about the Wind Waker HD, which was recently announced, and I talked about its art style and all of that. This week I'm going to be talking about Zelda Wii U, the just brand new Zelda game on the Wii U. We haven't heard any news about Zelda 3DS yet, in particular, anything meaningful, but I'm sure we will get that soon. And we got this news on Zelda Wii U, and I've been excited about this for a while. I've been saying for a while that I thought that the Wii U is going to be a great system, and that there's a lot of reason to think that the Zelda game for it is going to be great. And I thought that Skyward Sword was a good step in the right direction, which gave me a lot of hope for Zelda Wii U. But Skyward Sword had a lot of problems, and I just think that since it was a step in the right direction, Zelda Wii U is certainly going to refine, what it was doing. And we finally got some news on it. They've been saying that they're going to rethink the conventions of Zelda. And they gave examples, but they were just examples, They said, things like, they were wording it like it was going to be these are just some of the things. So I don't know if there's going to be more or not. That's interesting to think about, if the two things that they listed are going to be their only conventions they're rethinking, or if there's going to be more. And what they specifically said was complete dungeons in a certain order and play by yourself. The things we've come to take for granted recently, they said. Not necessarily the only things, once again. There could be more they're talking about. It's unclear. They're rethinking the conventions of Zelda. That's the main thing. That's their mission for this. Now, the dungeon order thing sounds great. Non-linearity has been needed in the series for a while. I keep talking about this. This is like the only thing I've been saying for, well, not the only thing, but I've been talking about it for a while. The Zelda series needs to ditch the linearity thing and let you kind of do a little more, have some more freedom. And viewers of the mailbag, or my videos, or readers of my articles and stuff, they're probably familiar with me making this argument that the Zelda series needs to bring back that element of the old games where it was an open exploration thing. It's just, man, we've had enough overworlds that were just totally sectioned off. Yeah. Now, about multiplayer, that caught me a little by surprise. And, I talked about this in an article a little bit a while ago. Admittedly, I don't remember everything I said in that article. Multiplayer is kind of an odd component of Zelda. I mean, it's been around. It's appeared in a lot of games, especially lately. There's like the DS games had multiplayer modes, but they also had connectivity functions with trading treasures and whatnot. And you also had like the Tingle Tuner. You have Four Swords games. It's been present, especially lately in the series. But it's never been important. It's never been like a major aspect. So it's fascinating to see them talk about wanting to rethink conventions in Zelda and bring this to the forefront of their mission for the game. That's I don't know, that's weird, but not necessarily bad weird. I don't know what to think about that yet. Things like the Tingle Tuner or connectivity are things that I think really benefit the series how it is now. I mean, you can have a very hard Zelda game, or at least reasonably hard, and then you have something like the Tingle Tuner where another player can come in and give you help. And that works well with the Wii U, I think, and it's just by its nature and how the controller works. And I think that would be an interesting fit for Zelda. You have a very hard game, but your friend can come in and help you and make it easier. Or you could just sit down in the main controller and do it yourself, or something, I don't know. And connectivity functions where you can trade treasures or things you've found or whatever. And that's very much in the spirit of classic Zelda, where different players would play through the game and discover things in different order because they were so well hidden. And they'd share information about, like, how to get to this, how to get to that. Even if it's something like trading treasures and items or something like that, it's still in the same spirit, I feel, like two players working together to get through their own solo adventures. These are functions I think really work well for multiplayer functions in Zelda, if you can call that multiplayer. I don't know about co-op or, things like that in the Zelda game, though. I mean, it wouldn't be bad. As long as it's optional, as it certainly would be. It's a non-intrusive element in this game, and it would be fine, and, yeah, it would be fun. I don't know what they have in mind. If they're trying to do, like, a Four Swords thing for the main game, that's really weird, and I probably won't mess around with that a ton, but that is very interesting. I just hope it's nothing that interferes with the game design in general. Or maybe they have an alternate multiplayer mode built within the game, sort of like the DS games then. I don't know. I have no idea what they have in mind. I don't think the Zelda series in general is extremely conducive to multiplayer aspects, though they certainly can work in it. I'm interested in seeing where they go with this. I'm not particularly excited about it, though. Zelda's never been and never will be a series I play for multiplayer. It's a single-player experience to me, and I go for other series if I want to play something with other people. Unless it's Four Swords. And I don't have anyone nearby to play Four Swords with, because it has the game or the system has Four Swords. So, they've said in general that they're going to set aside conventions, and they also said they're going to get back to basics. so players can enjoy the real essence of the franchise. And I love this. I love the wording here. I like the priority they seem to be placing on it here. It sounds like a deconstruction of the series. It sounds like you're breaking off all the elements, working out what is extraneous and just doesn't really work, and just getting back to what makes it what it is, what's the core idea. And I love that. I think that's what the series is kind of needed, because they have all these games where they get into all the cinematic presentation stuff, which is excellent, and I think that should be continued in such a deconstruction. But at the same time, there's a lot of classic elements that don't interfere with the new stuff, the strengths of the new games, that they haven't been paying attention to, haven't been getting to and putting into the game. So I think that breaking off all the traditions, getting back to, you know, the important stuff from the old games, and then putting back what works with that from the new games, that's what they need to do to make a really excellent game. I just hope that they, you know, have the sense to do all that. I don't think that should be too complicated, though. They also said that we had actually worked on this kind of challenge in Skyward Sword, but weren't able to put effort into changing the linear path structure of the game. And I'm like, yes! This is what I've been saying. It's like what I started at the beginning of the video. Skyward Sword tried to bring the adventure essence of the series back. It tried to make it a challenging, enthralling experience in just how the game plays. And it had some really great ideas on that front, but it executed them so poorly. It had a terrible overworld structure, even if the content of the overworld was pretty decent. It was very linear. There's just so many problems with the game, but it was trying to bring back the classic elements, and that's one of the reasons I love the game so much. It was a step, not a big step, in the right direction, while it still had problems doing so. And this is why, you know, and clearly Nintendo had the same idea. That was their mission with Skyward Sword, to try to put in the older elements and make this superior Zelda experience, but they messed up with some problems, and the linearity was one of them. I just hope they realized it wasn't the only one, and hopefully Zelda Wii U will be fixing that. I have so much hope for Zelda Wii U at this point, just because of all their wording and language surrounding it, what they've stated they're trying to do with it. It just sounds great. Now, Nintendo does have a tendency to mess things up. I mean, Skyward Sword's pretty much proof of that. I mean, they have a tendency to make, you know, like, have a decent idea or try to respond to what fans want, but in the most misguided way, and they make games that I think are unpolished or whatever, you know. I think Twilight Princess has examples of that, because they were trying to do this, like, counter-response to The Wind Waker or something, I don't know. Also, Skyward Sword is very much like that as well. So, you know, they've had problems with some of their games, and especially trying to interpret what they should be doing, or interpret their own message, or interpret what fans want. They seem to just go do odd things sometimes. But that said, they can't really keep doing that forever. And, you know, Skyward Sword was a good start, and if they keep going, they should create something excellent. I mean, they can't keep messing up forever, and they still make good games even when they mess up. Even when they misinterpret things, they seem to still create great experiences. So when they have the right idea, and they've been messing up for so long, in my opinion, come on, they have to make a great game at some point here, and the Wii U in general seems to have really nailed it in a lot of areas so far. So I think that Zelda Wii U is going to be the game, or at least another step in the right direction, like Skyward Sword was. So just to recap, I guess, I do have my doubts and concerns about this just because Nintendo's track record. But them referring to Skyward Sword, I think, is a particularly good sign, because, you know, like I said, that was a step in the right direction, and I'm hoping this one will be a bigger step in the same direction. And possibly introduce more ideas that Skyward Sword didn't even start on. I just hope that this deconstruction doesn't get mishandled and really does get to the essence of the series, which I feel is just a whimsical adventure, an open experience where you can just have fun with the world as you want, but there's also this main story to go through, but it's not like super dark, like horrible things happening. It's a fantasy story with a villain and some bad things happen, but it's a whimsical experience overall, even if it's got serious aspects. So as long as they do all that, and they polish the game, and they get back to the basics like they've been saying, but also if they don't ditch what's working in the new games completely, because that's important, then this game, I think, will be amazing, at least for me. And I'm getting the feeling that this, like Skyward Sword, this is going to be the Zelda game I've been waiting for. Maybe it will disappoint me, but I think at least it will be a further step to what I've been wanting. But what about you guys? What are your thoughts on the game? Do you have hope for this game? has it increased with the latest news or decreased? Like, what do you think about their stated mission? Did you ever not have hope? Did you just, like, you thought The Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword were great games, and you had no doubts about the future of Zelda in any way, and you're just very happy with the current direction? Or, tell me your thoughts about, the recent Zelda games and this Zelda game, and has it changed anything for you, etc. But most importantly, I want to hear what you think is the essence of Zelda, because, like, that's their whole stated purpose here. Get back to the essence of Zelda and build the game around that concept. It's a deconstruction, it's getting back to basics. So, what do you feel are the basics? What is it that Nintendo needs to get back to with the Zelda series? What do you think they're trying to do? Tell me in the comments, and I'll see you guys later. And it's art style. Well, you have to a good start. They should extend the world, too. I mean, so there's OpenX. They've also said they're going to set aside, they've said, how they've prioritized their...